Jay Sekulow. He's the chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice and also counsel to the president. I think you know Bill Barr. Is that true?
I do. I've known Bill Barr a long time.
What do you think of his testimony and the things that he was saying, that some of which contradict your client and what he's been saying?
Well, I don't think it's contradictory. I think you got to understand the different roles and the different approach. I thought the most enlightening part of the discussion was when the Attorney General nominee, Bill Barr, was being pressed by Senators Blumenthal and later by Senator Hirona, where the issue was, would you guarantee us that you will, for instance, allow the special counsel to basically do whatever he wants? Will you guarantee us a subpoena right? Will you guarantee us that his report will be public? And what Bill Barr said correctly is that Bill's going to follow the law, but he also said he's not surrendering his authority as Attorney General in the United States under the rules and regulations that have been set up. And it's pretty clear that a lot of these senators don't know what those rules are, or the regulations that govern the special counsel. They keep conflating Leon Jaworski and the Watergate counsel and the independent counsel with the situation of a special counsel. It's apples and oranges. The rules are different. They're not independent in the sense that they don't report directly to, say, Congress or directly to a 3-judge panel. They report to the Attorney General. So, look, Bill Barr is a man of tremendous integrity, tremendous reputation. I've known him for 3 decades. He's going to be fair, which is all you can ask for. He's going to apply the law without a bias, which is something that's desperately needed. And he's aware that the Department of Justice has challenges. Look at the biggest challenge today. The General Counsel of the Federal Bureau of Investigation,
James Baker.
Lawyer,
yeah,
James Baker, is under a criminal investigation for leaking information. Now, we also know that William McCabe was the number 2 guy.
He was the deputy FBI director under Comey.
Deputy FBI director. He's under investigation for leaking. We know that James Comey leaked because James Comey said it. So, I mean, look, the FBI and the Department of Justice need a steady hand, and Bill Barr did not need this job. He's older than me, 68 years old, and has had a distinguished career. And I think people are overreading on both sides what he's saying here. It's a confirmation hearing. He is answering forthrightly. There are distinctions between what he's saying and the way others would say it or phrase it. Is Bob Mueller on a personal witch hunt? I picked up all that. Now, look, here's the thing. Bill Barr does not know and no one does, except Bob Mueller and his team, as to exactly where all the tentacles of this investigation are. Nobody knows that. I mean, we have general ideas. We have more specific ideas as the president's counsel. But this is someone that has raised the issue of the obstruction inquiry in a memo that's being widely discussed now. He was critical of that. He's been critical of the people that were hired. And he said there should be no partisanship involved in these decision-making. But he also said, I think the most important thing today he said was, he's going to apply the law fairly. He's not surrendering his authority as Attorney General. He's not. They already asked him to recuse himself, Sean, early in this hearing.
Mm-hmm. Well, he actually thought he thought Jeff Sessions did the right thing by recusing himself. Now, there is a difference between Barr and Rosenstein. You got to hope that Barr is going to be an honest broker. Now, if Barr is an honest broker, Jay, that would mean that we'd have equal application of our laws and equal justice under the law. That then brings us back to the exoneration of Hillary. That brings up the Espionage Act. That brings back top secret information and classified information on her server. That also goes to the heart of, when issued a subpoena when she deleted and acid washed and broke up her devices. That brings up the issue. He did say he would be looking into the FISA abuses, but bought and paid for Russian lies that were disseminated to the American people and used as the bulk of information to get 4 FISA warrants that were never verified, meaning the dossier. Is he going to do all of that? Because short of that, we don't have equal justice under the law.
Well, let's talk about what we do know. He already said to Lindsey Graham, to Senator Graham, that he's going to look into the leak of what came out over the weekend, the purported counterintelligence investigation that you and I talked about last night on TV. I mean, he's already said he's going to take a look at that. That's number one. And number two, I think here, what's equally important is you've raised these issues of these other inquiries. There is a U.S. attorney in I believe it's in Nevada, or Utah, that is investigating this. And we don't know what he's uncovering. For instance, did anybody
This is John Huber is supposed to be investigating the leak aspect was identified by then Attorney General Sessions. I think he said some 20 or 30 leaks at the time.
So now we know today that, in fact, the general counsel of the FBI under James Comey is, in fact, under a criminal investigation. And we didn't know that till today. Jim Jordan wrote a letter that talked about the testimony that was given, that his lawyer, Jim Baker's lawyer, wisely would not let him answer a series of questions because of that. I would have been the lawyer. I would have done exactly the same thing. Wouldn't let him answer those questions either. And you look at it and you say, okay, there are things going on here we don't even know that are going on. And that, by the way, that's the way it's supposed to be. These investigations are supposed to be going. You're not supposed to be leaking them. So I think between someone of the credibility and stature of William Barr, Bill Barr, coming in, and the fact that there is ongoing efforts right now to clean this mess up, and it is a mess. I thought about this today, Sean. I filed, as you remember, 3 years ago, that massive suit against the IRS. It took us 3 years to get it resolved. It took us 3 years to get the rules changed. It took us 3 years to get the people out. But I have a Freedom of Information Act request. We talked about it on our broadcast today. That has if you fight, they fight you on every document. But one document I got has, guess who on it? James Baker.
Mm-hmm.
You got it right. And by the way, Peter Strzok.
Mm-hmm.
And these were involving James Comey.
Mm-hmm.
And
see, I am wondering, look, a lot of these people have been fired, and, these investigations never materialized, seemingly, under the old Attorney General Sessions, which I know became a great source of frustration for me. I know the president was very frustrated. I remember asking very key people in the Justice Department, is this a violation of law? If you delete, acid wash, or hard drive after information has been subpoenaed, you're a good lawyer. Could you get me out of obstruction of justice if I did that? And a charge such as that?
Well, I would fight for it.
You'd fight for me, but it would be an uphill battle, wouldn't it?
Of course. So here's the rules that are different. I think the message Bill Barr sent today was there are not going to be two sets of rules here. We're going to play by the rules. We're going to deal with the law as the law is written. We're going to apply it in an equal and fair way with integrity. He said he's not surrendering his authority. He's not starting his tenure as Attorney General by surrendering his authority. And that was the message today. I thought he did a very effective job.
Okay, and and as it relates to the Mueller report, he said he would release all that he was able to based on, I guess, Justice Department guidelines. According to guidelines, my understanding is he doesn't have to release any of it.
Well, that's right. It's a confidential. I mean, this is what people do not understand. I've been saying this for 19 months, 20 months now. It's a confidential report under the regulations. It goes to the Attorney General, and then what the Attorney General says, he will release as much as he can to be transparent as the law allows. As the law allows. And that raises the whole spectrum of, A, the regulations that he's governed by, and B, the various privileges that may or may not exist, or that would exist if it's executive privilege. There's been a little flack that my colleague, in an answer to it, he was asked a question, will you allow Rudy Giuliani to correct the report? And he said, no, I will not. And some have interpreted that as, oh, my goodness. But that's not first of all, that's not what Rudy said. Rudy didn't say we're going to correct the report. We said we wanted an opportunity to respond to the report, which is just due process. And Bill Barr correctly just said that of course he's not going to let anybody correct a report, but the report he's talking about, that Bill's talking about, is his report that would go to Congress. Because it's not necessary that Bob Mueller's report goes to Congress. That's not the way they set the rules up. And that's not the way the law was established.
As we continue with Jay Sekulow, Chief Counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice. Why don't we get regular updates from the Inspector General? Last time he took 18 months to get the information out. Now, to his credit, he's the one that found a majority of the Page and Strzok texts. Now he's looking into FISA abuse, and I've been told he's also been pulled. Congressional requests have pushed him in other areas as well, but right. It seems like anything that is anti the president is out there in 3 seconds. Anything that, like, for example, it's been very, very slow to get information. Even today, that James Baker is being criminally investigated, just like Andrew McCabe is under criminal investigation. I would suspect over time, if we do have equal justice under the law, James Comey might find himself in such a position. Strzok and Page would find themselves in such a position. Does that seem far-fetched to you?
No, I think here's what's happened. These investigations are supposed to be going on, and no one's supposed to know. But these things have been leaked, and that leaking situation is out of control, as you and I have been talking about for 2 years. But now you look back, and you said, why is it taking Horowitz so long? Let me tell you something. I'm holding in my hand a report that our team put together of all the FOIA cases we're involved in, involving all these issues you just mentioned. Some of these go back to letters we sent in 2016, Sean. We're just now getting the documents. Horowitz, these people have lawyers. The lawyers are being cautious, the defense lawyers, and that's why it's taking a long time. But you got to say the final product of what Horowitz has put forward on both these issues has been very, very well done.
Well, again, just how long? Like, for example, tonight, I'm going to put up on the TV, on television, I'm going to put up the names of people that I think should be under investigation and what the crimes are that I think that the new attorney general should be investigating. And I'm worried that if he doesn't do his job completely, that, there's a real threat to equal justice in this country. Nobody could have gotten away with or gotten the exoneration. Hillary, how lucky is she? She gets a guy to interview her that thinks that she should win $100 million to zero. She has James Comey obviously in her court as he exonerated her in spite of, was writing an exoneration long before they investigated. None of those considerations ever happened to the president, just quite the opposite. You get crazy, wild allegations and even reports now that the FBI, after the firing of Comey, after they had already spent 9 months investigating Trump-Russia collusion, they're sitting around a table basically arguing whether or not they should investigate the president for treason with no cause whatsoever, no evidence at all, just out of revenge for the firing of Comey.
Well, I mean, that whole thing's so absurd because James Comey told the president he wasn't under investigation. Peter Strzok says in an email to Lisa Page, I don't know if I'm going to go over to the special counsel's office. I mean, I don't think there's any there. And he'd already been investigating it for a year. They fired James Comey 2 days before that. Now, all of a sudden, it's literally a federal case, and there's supposedly a counterintelligence investigation. That's why you need an attorney general, to get a handle on what is actually going on. And as he said, he told Senator Hirona, it sounds like you know more about this investigation than anybody else, because there's a lot of speculating going on. But I think he's going to be a exceptional choice. He's got tremendous integrity. Look, all you want, in an attorney general, you want a leader, you want fairness, you want the rule of law applied equally. That's what you want. I think with Bill Barr, you're going to get that.
All right. I hope so. We'll find out in fairly short order, I think. Jay Sekulow, Chief Counsel, American Center for Law and Justice, Counsel to the President. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time as always.